On this episode of Infinite Potential Within, this is going to be a little bit of a bonus episode of Solo Me. When someone no shows for the podcast, it's a great opportunity for me to get to riff off a little bit of the things that go on in my mind. So listen in as I talk about success and what success is for me, what it is not, and how to change that road that we are going down. So I hope you enjoy. I also wanted to talk about something that was on my mind this afternoon and briefly bring up something that feels really important. And that's about success. And I'm finding more and more that I start to notice that people measure their success on someone else, but not someone else in a way that you're modeling after somebody's success, that you're looking towards somebody as something that's possible, but more like a way that, hey, this person has already achieved X, Y, and Z. I'm this far behind. However, not noticing all of the different steps that it took for that person to get there, because maybe that person's only showing you the highlight reel. Maybe that person's only showing you exactly what they want you to see in order for it to seem that they've achieved this level of success. But success really is what we make it. Success really is different for everyone. And it shouldn't be defined by somebody else's definition of what success is and what success looked like for them. Because at that point, we're holding on to a standard and holding that standard of success in a place that we let it be unachievable. Whereas being able to flip that and defining our own definition of success can help us to achieve so many more things, because we get to step into who we want to be in that level of success. Because modeling is great. Modeling after someone and saying, hey, I can see those possibilities. They were able to achieve them. I can do that too. But it doesn't have to mean that we're going to go down that same road, because no two people will ever go down that same road in that same exact way. The speed's going to be different. The tread on the tires is going to be different. Somebody's driving a different model car going down that road. So therefore, we can't expect ourselves to be at the same place as somebody else because we're in a different car. So being able to define that in a way that stands out for us gets to be the most important aspect of our journey to what it is that is success for us. And nobody else gets to define that. So if somebody else were to look at you and think that you're not far enough, that's their definition of success. That's their perspective, where they're coming from, and how they model their view of the world as to where they're going. So success really gets to be wherever we want it to be. And this came up because I was thinking about how many times I have let this view of somebody else's success pull me back from where I am, because it looks like somebody else is so much further ahead. Whereas then I allow for that to stop me, or to not keep that traction going. So I don't stay going down that road. Whereas what I don't see is just ahead, there's a turn that, is full of all of these other opportunities, because I chose to turn around and do a U-turn back to where I was, which makes no sense, because again, I'm looking at somebody else's path that they defined for their success, and I'm trying to go down that same road. Whereas, yeah, I can pick up some of those tips and tricks and I can utilize that into my own way. But if I continue modeling after that road that they went down, then I'm going to set up these roadblocks for myself inadvertently, because I'm not defining my own success road. I'm not letting myself have the success that is already there. I'm not taking credit for the place that I already am in my life. So often I watch people I know who are doing so many incredible things not give themselves the credit that they're due, because they're waiting for something else instead of in that moment, in that place that we are right then, to embrace that. And that was something that over this last weekend, going on vacation can tend to do, is just like that I was reflecting inward about where I am and being present and being in the moment and letting life be lived where we are. And that's where success came up today, is that thinking about success in that way, who is to define what success is for you besides you? So letting somebody else's definition define you will, pull back the reins on what is right there. What is that one turn away? Because we get to let that be something different for ourselves. And it's such an incredible journey when we're able to embrace the definitions of what everything means for ourselves, and that perspective on how we want to view the world and how we want to show up. And today I have listened to somebody that I love to listen to on YouTube, and I listened to them be interviewed numerous times. And they have a book launching, so it was a lot of the same topics, but there was so much like gold in that. There was so much treasure in what they were talking about. And when it comes back to everything, it's taking this place where we are right now and letting ourselves define that how we want to, letting that be that moment of inspiration for us. Because for me, one of the things that is my go-to is I don't know what life holds tomorrow. I don't know what life holds in 10 minutes from now. So I choose to try to live like that as much as possible, because that way I'm living, I'm defining my life as I go. I'm not letting other things define it. And I'm not going to look back. And one of my greatest fears is that I stop living my life in a way that is conducive for my growth. And so I get 10 years down the road, and I've already done this with numerous ideas that I've had, and I've shelved them, and I've looked back and I'm like, oh, if I only had started that then, only if I had taken this chance, or only if. But what if we change those only ifs to, okay, I'm going to do that for myself right now, because I am my priority. I am important. I deserve to show up for me, and I deserve to be the one that breaks out of this mode that we're in of letting other things define us. Because the only person that gets to define us, and I'm going to say that a million times probably across chats, is we're the only ones that get to define who we are. And 10, 20, 30 years, when I look back, I want that definition that I've defined my life by to be as strong as possible. I want to be able to look back and go, I don't have any regrets. And that's how I hold my life now. I don't regret anything. And now I try to think longer so I don't look back at the things that I should have thought about a little bit longer. And there's something else that came to me today, is I'm challenging myself that from this point today to 6 months from now, how dramatically can I change my life? And I don't mean that in a way that's like, hey, I'm going to push myself to do things that are not conducive and congruent with where I want to grow to. I mean that I know that I can take charge of my health. I know that I can take charge of my growth. I know that I can take charge of my business. And I know I can expand that. I know that I can live in an abundant place, even more so than I already do. So how much more can I push myself to do in a way that feels good to me? So what feels good? How can I show up in my day-to-day life and say, what would the healthiest version of me choose to do today? What would the most successful version of me choose to do today and make a priority? And sometimes the priority is a downtime, and embracing that, but also knowing that in that most successful version of myself, I need to know when I take that too far. I let myself pull back and do nothing, because, that for me, that breaking out of that, not just a fear of being seen, it's just that growth wasn't there. Like this person that I'm talking about, which is Ed Milet, if you have not ever really listened to him, and he's incredible to listen to. But he talks about things being caught and not taught, meaning that the people that we grow up around are caretakers, that what we are catching from them tends to be the version of themselves that they put out into the world. And that really got me thinking. And yes, our caretakers give us a lot of lessons, and there's a lot of things that they try to teach us, but we also go off of what they are doing in their life. And so he talks about how if we see somebody that has taken care of us and they've only hit this certain level, it's hard for us to know other things that we are capable of because we've been watching them. And granted, those are things that I understood on a really deep level. And then this made me understand them on an even deeper level, because I look at somebody that I grew up admiring, and I grew up looking at and going, oh my gosh, this person, they have so much going for them. They like have all this motivation. They can do all of these things. Then they'd hit this place in the ceiling, and then they would drop back down to where they started. And it was just like this constant like ebb and flow in life. And not because they didn't know that they were capable, but because they didn't believe that they could continue doing that. So they'd hit the ceiling and then they would break back down. And granted, that's a cycle that they caught and weren't just taught. It's breaking out of that cycle and going, no, this is how I'm going to choose to show up in the world. And in 6 months from now, I want to look back at this particular show and say, this is everything I was able to accomplish. This is everything that I've been able to do. And from here to there, keeping track of that progress and going to look at different areas of my life. And I am documenting where I am now and to where I will be then. Because there are certain things that are extremely important to me, and I want to be able to continue to be active in life. I want to be able to continue enjoying the time with my children. I want to be continue enjoying time with my family. Ooh, a little emotional. And that's what's important, is living today in the best way that is possible. Okay. And coming back to success is, what is that definition of success for me? Because only I get to define what that road looks like. And that doesn't need to be defined by somebody else's road, because I'm not in the same car as them. So this is the opportunity to grasp that. And this is the opportunity that we get to have on a day-to-day basis to make those choices for ourselves of how we want to show up in the world, what we want to do next. And that potential that is within us, I do believe that it's infinite. And I do believe that every single one of us is meant to do something very uniquely special to exactly who we are. And being able to go after that and help and serve other people while growing myself, like I personally, that lights me up. It helps to push me out of places that I can feel as I might get stuck in, because I need to learn something from there. And now at this place in my life, I'm ready to grow forward, and I'm ready to do whatever it takes for me to live congruently with that goal. So with that, not too bad. I'm going to say that no show for the show. I'm actually okay with that, because this feels good. And I hope that anybody else who needed this, hope this helps you too. And yeah, with that, I am going to end this. And I can't wait to chat with you guys next. Got something coming up in the next couple days that I'm looking forward to. And so I will chat with you guys then.
Thank you so much for joining and listening to this solo chat with me. If you enjoyed this solo chat and you want to hear more of me or the conversations with so many others that bring such amazing energy, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast. If you want some further access to the show, please join the Facebook group at Infinite Potential Within. There, you'll find solo chats, videos, and more. Until then, I hope you choose to live within the infinite.